Finally, a way for me to actually enjoy the archaic and ill-conceived multiplayer experience that is Halo Combat Evolved. I'm the Home Slice, period. And if you're already not typing a to the death defense of Halo CE, I want to thank you for tuning in to a special spotlight on what I think is the new must-have mod for Halo MCC. This is HALO CEA MP by Kiera, aka Cashiera, and this neat community project has effectively and delicately combined Halo CE and Halo 3 into a blended classic Halo experience that not only puts to shame the original Halo CE, but has also opened my mind and eyes to the interesting design differences between the games that started and ended the original Halo trilogy. Today, I want to share my experience and review of the mod, accompanied by an interview with the mod creator. You don't want to miss any of it, so be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my viewer question at the end. Let's get this started. So first things first, let's get one thing straight. Halo CE Anniversary and Halo CEA MP are not the same thing. Kiera describes her mod as basically a what if Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary launched with a multiplayer mode instead of the map pack for Halo Reach. Like I mentioned, this mod combines Halo CE with Halo 3 and does so by importing many of the assets, maps, weapons, mechanics, and design elements from CE into Halo 3. And while I think it's surface level things like maps and assets that draw people's attention, for me it's the more functional collisions between the two games that ended up piquing my interest. You gotta remember that Halo CE is the elder to Halo 3 by nearly 6 years, but from a gameplay experience standpoint, Halo 3 derives far more from Halo 2 than it does CE, because CE is not the multiplayer model that truly defined the foundation of all Halos after. That title belongs very much so to Halo 2. If you'd like a video on that topic, let me know in the comments below. So the net result here is that Halo CE and Halo 3 deceptively have some major things that set them apart, and getting one to live inside the other isn't as simple as you might think. I asked Kiera what some of the challenges were. She said a lot of stuff that was in Halo Combat Evolved was unfortunately not brought over to Halo 3, such as health packs, damage modifiers based on what material you shoot, etc. So reintroducing the health pack was a bit of a challenge, and so was trying to balance the weapons so they feel the same as they do in Combat Evolved. I think weapon balance is an extremely interesting topic of discussion here because it's the weapon sandbox between the two games that is some of the most different. Unlike the airsoft battle rifle in Halo 3 that seems to fire dissolvable pellets at enemies, in CEA MP, the insanely overpowered Magnum makes a triumphant return as a literal pocket sniper. I think in modern day, we neglect just how unbalanced this weapon was because it gets grandfathered in, but to use it in full effect inside Halo 3 actually made me happy that Nerf BR was the mainstay instead. I felt that the CE sandbox didn't get the proper chance to shine often because of how violently the Magnum dominated nearly all aspects of play, and this was especially true on some of the larger BTB maps. I think one match, all I did was snipe with the Magnum for like 4 minutes straight. I didn't even realize so much time had passed. It was just so easy to do and I was getting so many kills doing it. Speaking of maps, let's talk about that, because even in the 6-year gap between CE and 3, map design had really come a long way. Now, I'm not even insulting CE maps. I think they have flaws, sure, but I think that's the product of the designs being far more freeform, more driven by simple settings than they are by some rigorous testing process. And if you play this mod after playing Halo Infinite, for example, that's where you get the starkest contrast, because Halo Infinite maps seem designed to literally never let you breathe. As where the CE maps are so casual, I think some of these matches I could have gone the whole time and never fought an enemy once. Much of what I've been talking about so far is how CEA MP modernizes the CE experience, about how it moves old ideas into the more timeless sandbox of Halo 3. And when I asked Kiera about that modernization, she focused on the movement, saying, yes, Halo Combat Evolved's movement was really delayed and outdated, but since the mod uses Halo 3's engine, movement feels a lot snappier than in Combat Evolved. Speaking of modernizations, I'm sure you've noticed how CE AMP updates CE assets and maps to Halo 3 levels of quality. For me, it kind of succeeds in two ways. The first is by not trying to accomplish some of the generic RTX on type gimmicks other mods do, which I often think makes stuff look far too noisy, uncanny, if not just worse. But second, and probably most importantly, the CE AMP visuals are reimagined within Halo 3's visuals in striking yet subtle ways. It creates consistency in appearance, which I think was the essential visual trick into really making this work. Now, notably, where this trick runs short is where you start counting polygons. The CE maps are notably more blocky and more triangular than the Halo 3 native maps. When I mentioned to Kiera, I talked about how good it looks and how funny it is to see some of the lower geometry with it. She said yes, but that's mostly because Halo 3's amazing lighting engine. Some maps look gorgeous with the right lighting and makes me forget that the geometry I'm on is from 2001. I just lose track of time, I'm just walking around the map and I've just finished just taking in the scenery. With a mod of this caliber, there's of course a lot of technical work that goes into it. I asked Kiera what kinds of tools, processes, and programs were used to produce this mod, to which she said the Halo 3 editing kit, the Halo 1 editing kit, Blender, Mozzarella for extracting the levels, Reclaimer for extracting textures and models, and upscaling software for the CE assets. I also asked her about stuff that was planned for this mod but then didn't pan out. She said she had to scrap a lot of the custom content. She planned to include variants of some maps set at night, weather changes, but including so much stuff in this maps caused the mod to be really large in file size. She said it's mostly the modding tool's fault, since Bungie/343 use a shared map file that other maps can access resources from without including all those resources in the actual map. But with the tools we have, making a shared map isn't possible. Yet, at least. I want to cap out by talking about the delicate balance as a whole this game strikes between Halo CE and Halo 3, and how the net result is this classic Halo experience that is so unique yet familiar, any Halo fan should try it. I think Kiera has succeeded in creating a gameplay experience that is standout, rather than being a simple port of old ideas into new graphics. Halo CE didn't have a sword, but now it does. Halo 3 didn't have health packs, but now it does. Halo CE had fall damage, now it doesn't. Halo 3 didn't have a passenger tank, now it does. There are tons of little trades the games make between each other that I think, when summed up, make me reconsider the Halo 3 we got, and the classic Halo experience in a nutshell. Now, I'm not saying this mod is better than the original titles, or anything and vice versa. I'm saying it's neat. It's a cool, living and breathing what if, to quote Kiera herself. And in many ways, Halo CE AMP is kinda like how I see Halo Infinite in contrast to the Reclaimer saga. It's got the thoughts of an older game living inside the bones of a newer one. It's a cool little testament to just how flexible Halo's core game design philosophy, the dance, really is. Halo games can harbor other Halo games, and even though trade-offs are made, the end result is something distinctly and uniquely Halo each time. I commend Kiera for her work and efforts in creating this mod. You should show her some props by following her on Twitter, subscribing to her YouTube channel, and by playing Halo CE AMP for yourself today. Linked below is her Discord where you can get started. For today's viewer question, I want to put the bug in the ear of any talented mod creators possibly watching this, or anybody who wants to spark up something here, or all my inquisitive viewers. What other Halo titles would you like to see blended in the same fashion this mod blends Halo CE and Halo 3, and why? That's gonna do it for this video. Be sure you like the video if you haven't, subscribe to the channel if you're not yet, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and be sure to follow Kiera and her work going forward. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later.